Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now we've got to tier 8. We've seen my top 5 favourite tier 10s. We've seen my top 5 favourite tier 9s, and now we are at my top 5 favourite tier 8 tanks. Now this has probably been the easiest top 5. You know, I've got a few tier 10s that I really love, a few tier 10s that I really love, but for me, these 5 have been the easiest picks. They really have been the easiest picks for me. So coming in at number 5, I had to go for a light tank. Now I know a lot of people would have probably gone for things like the T49. You know, that's the standard fun tank for a lot of people in tier 8. But I'm not that much of a lover of the T49. But the RU251, however, I absolutely love. Now, of course, it does have no armor whatsoever, so you can actually be absolutely obliterated. Now, it does have higher HE pen as well, so you've got really good HE pen. And of course, it is the fastest tank in the game. So you can get around the map very easily and, of course, very quickly. So the RU251 is definitely my favourite light tank in tier 8. And it's come in at number 5 for me. So moving on to tank number 4. And we have a heavy tank. Again, this is one of my favourite heavy tanks. Not even really just in tier 8, like in the game. Of course, there is another heavy tank in this list, but the Shark. I absolutely love the Shark. Now, I love the E5 in tier 10, the T110 E5. Absolutely love it. Now, this is just a watered down version of that. It is a tier 8 version of the E5. Absolutely fantastic. I love the Shark camo. I think the camo is brilliant. And when you play this tank correctly, it can be brutal. I mean, if you can get on a ridge, if you can go hold down, hide your weak points, then you can get quite a bit of bounces. And this is what we've literally done just this game. We've managed to block 1500 damage, and we've done that very easily. I think the DPM is pretty solid. The speed is pretty solid as well. Overall, it is a very good heavy tank. You could play it in ratings. It's a decent tank for ratings as well. Like, honestly, you can do really well. And it is one of my go-to heavies when it comes to ratings, if and when I do play ratings. So the Shark, it could have actually been lower down my list as well. You know I put it at number 4, but it could also be my number 1 or my number 2. And that's how close my top 5 is when it comes to tier 8. So number 4 is the Shark. Moving on to number 3. And of course, it is the Petto 46. Love it. Absolutely love this tank. Now, those of you that are not aware, the Petto 46 is one of the last tanks. It's one of the last standard tanks that came into the shop for gold. Crates had just sort of come around. They were normally around sort of for tier 10. Then they started to be more popular for tier 9. And then the Petto, when it first come for sale, I think it was like 10,000 gold. And I was shocked because we just started seeing quite a lot of crates. And that is pretty much the last, you know. You get a new tank now, unless it is a part of an event, you get a new tank that comes into the store, whether it is a tier 8, tier 9, tier 10, majority of the time it is always in store in crates. Now the Petto was one of the final tanks to actually come in the game for gold, and I love it. It is the auto reloading system as well, which I absolutely love, the auto reloader, and I think it is just an absolutely brilliant tank that I've always loved. And again, just like the Shark, this could have easily been my number 1. Moving on to tank number 2. Now, we've gone for a fairly newer tank. Now, it is the Elephant. Oh, this is a beauty of a tank. Honestly, the armor profile is insane. The DPM is insane. And in fact, the speed's not even that bad either. I think this is absolutely fantastic and definitely my favorite tank destroyer in tier 8. There are a few tank destroyers in tier 8 that I do love. The Scorpion G, you know, I love tanks like that. Even things like the Charioteer, absolutely love the Charioteer. But ever since this tank has been released, for me, there's no other tank destroyer that even comes close to this tank. I think it is so beautiful to play, fun to play. The armor profile, as I've said, is amazing. It really is. People can penetrate you, but they just need to switch to the premium round to penetrate you. And even sometimes if they switch to the premium round, they still struggle to penetrate you. But I think the Elephant, ever since it was released, it is totally up there. Like, it's it's number 2. And again, just like all the other tanks on my list, this could easily be number 1. This could easily be my favorite tank in tier 8. But at the moment, you know, it is what it is. I didn't want to put it in number 1 because there is a tank that I don't think is as good as this, but it's a tank that I've loved ever since it was released, and it's a tank that I play regularly, and yeah, I just had to put this this tank at my number 1. So let's move on and take a look at my favorite tank in tier 8. And it is the Action X. Beautiful tank, really, really good. I love the DPM, the speed, the turret, even the penetration, really. The Action X, the Carnarvon Action X, honestly, this tank is a beauty of a tank. The fact that it's got a couple of really, really good camos as well. This is my favorite camo, the Keep Calm. I love it. And even the other legendary camouflage that this tank has got. Now, you get yourself in the right positioning with this tank because of the reload is so short. I mean, yes, it has low alpha. To get high damage, you've got to constantly keep firing that gun. And sometimes it can be a bit difficult, you know, because you're not doing a lot of damage per shot. What, 150, 100 to 200, maybe sometimes a little bit over 200. But yeah, you're constantly firing. And as long as you're not in like right at the front and everyone aiming at you, you can just constantly fire this this gun. I mean, 2,300 damage, and I've even managed to block 850 damage. So the armor profile is there as well. Of course, on flat ground, you're not going to bounce as much. The upper plate is quite nice, but the lower plate is very, very easily pennable. Now, the turret also is very, very nice, but again, you do have some weak points in that turret, so you do have to be careful. The DPM is fantastic, so really, if you are top tier, especially if you're top tier, as long as you've got the hit points, no matter who you really come up against, you're going to out DPM them. Like this Lightbringer here, I know it's a new tank, but you know, when it's only 3 tanks left against 7, I'll happily trade with this guy. And I mean, look, he's not really doing anything. I've not even lost 100 hit points to this guy, and I'm just bouncing everything. I don't know. Yes, he is a bit of a noob. I don't even know how I bounced that shot there, but I love this tank, and it is up there at my number 1 for a reason. You know, all top 5, apart from maybe the 5th tank, the RU251. The rest of the tanks definitely could be my favorite tank, but this I think just tops them all. Absolutely love the Action X. It is my favorite tier 8 in the entire game. So let me know in the comments which one of my top 5 is also in your top 5, or which one of my top 5 is your favorite tank in the game, if it's there. Or if it's something completely different, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Tomorrow we are looking at tier 7. So stay tuned, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.